thanks very much for joining me today. To kick things off, can you share a bit more about your background and what brought you to your current role at Tigo Energy?
My current role is a Chief Growth and a Revenue Officer, so responsible for strategic growth and company's revenue worldwide. So I have been in renewable energy for almost 20 years. So have worked in various different manufacturing equipment to supply, project finance and development. So I joined Tigo about 4 years ago.
Perfect. And as Chief Growth and Revenue Officer, you're leading some of the most strategic initiatives at Tigo, I can believe. So how would you describe the company's growth journey over the past few years?
So we have one of our core technology that is the module level power electronics. So we've been in this business for 17 years or more. And it's obviously, we need looking for growth engine, right? So the area is like, what do we know? What do we already know about a company, the strength, and then how do we branching out? So as we're working on the module level power electronics, we'll work with a lot of inverter manufacturers because we are open architect. So as that, we know a lot of inverters, so we have accumulated a lot of knowledge about the systems. So that was like, as we start looking at the next growth engine about 3 and 4 years ago, and they say, storage obviously is a space it's grown significantly.
Yes.
So that's how we enter into one new business that is provide a residential storage solution, really leveraging our ability of the systems and the data acquisition and analysis. So the data acquisition analysis, because we do module level monitoring, so we have accumulated terabytes of data. We do lots of data process and monitoring alerts, so that we can leverage that. And then we also grow in that business that provide a predictive analytics service for energy consumption and generation. So those are the 2 growth areas for Tigo. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your input. And that brings me to the next question, because Tigo is widely recognized for its module level power electronic solutions, MLPE, but you're also pushing into software and energy intelligence. How are these developments shaping your business strategy at the moment?
I think our key business is still, we're a public company. You can see our earnings report. A majority of our earnings is still right now is coming from module level power electronics. But we are optimistic on the growth projection for the both on the storage business as well as the predictive analytics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you've led initiatives across global markets. What differences do you notice in how solar technology is being adopted across regions? And how does Tigo adjust accordingly?
I would say the technology adoption, it's not significantly different from region to region, all right? Because I think we are such a global economy. In the end, it's all about energy efficiency and also, the energy management. So in the sense of whether it's a PV plus storage, really looking at maximize the energy of the battery, self-consumption, time of use. But that said, each region, the implementation could be slightly different, where, which one's more important to customer. In the end, that's what we want to deliver, is for maximize the saving to the customer.
So at the
then
end
come back to the module level power electronics. So we have solutions you can provide optimization, and that's really ties into especially rooftop system installation. Initially, it's obviously shade mitigation, and then as we move along, people start to realize it's a CapEx versus OpEx. So if you have a lot of visibility, you can significantly reduce the operational costs. And then the bare minimum was a rapid shutdown requirement, though that's clearly from region to region, right? So you can see in the US, all the rooftop requires a meeting NEC code, or there's a new UL code to meet NEC code. And so therefore, some of the implementation is slightly different. In the US market, it used to be a lot more on the rapid shutdown, and Europe is more focused on optimization. But as you can see, in Europe, certain countries started implementing rapid shutdown, and some Asia Pacific country as well. I think it ties into local regulation. What are the requirements that determines the product needs for different regions.
That's interesting. So in Europe, it also depends country to country, right? Because even within the European Union, we know that the regulations should be consistent, but still, as you mentioned, there will be differentiation depending on the country, even if it's
Correct.
within the EU.
Correct. So like, for example, Czech Republic and Slovenia implemented the rapid shutdown requirement. The other country has not. But I know the people are in the IEC committee. They discuss about the IEC rapid shutdown code. It's not released yet, but when that code is released, I can imagine there will be more requirement for have a rapid shutdown to provide the safety to the firefighters. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for a clarification. And when it comes to growth, what's driving customer acquisition right now? Is it new product features, strategic partnerships, better financing, or something else?
I think it's probably all of the above, right? So most important, the way I look at it is a customer experience. Like what we deliver is deliver our promise to our customer, and I think that's really important to meet the customer's expectation. But that said, it's obviously you start with the product, the features to meet their needs. And but then you want to emphasize the customer experience. So I think it's all of the above. Yeah.
Okay. And at the moment, we are seeing rising interest in energy resilience, backup power, hybrid systems, off-grid capabilities. What's Tigo doing to meet this demand?
Our storage system can do all of this. So our storage system have the flexibility, or actually has all the feature built in, so you can do majority of a customer backup. I would say much less so, because it's a safety feature, right? But a resilience feature, to be accurate. But then on a day-to-day basis, this is still about how do you maximize the savings or self-consumption from use less grid, right? So it's then comes down to the energy management, how you optimize the usage versus the tariff rate. So I think most of the customers, if you ask them to install the PV systems, it's really trying to maximize the savings. But then it also depends on utility region. Someone's got a dynamic tariff rate and allow people to participate in as an aggregator. So then you're not only consuming electricity, you can also selling electricity. But then it's again, when do you consume, when do you selling, it ties into tariff rate and a demand signal. So that's where I see, we need a software like data analytics to understand, predict the consumption behavior and to maximize the savings.
Perfect. And the clean energy space is crowded at the moment with a lot of background noise. What do you see as Tigo's core differentiator today?
I think that our key differentiation is it's like what is our technology. I think the other one is really a customer experience. I can't emphasize that enough in that. But it is what you say, it's crowded, but it's the growth projection is still looking at 2030 is going to double the electricity consumption. I don't think any single company can meet all the needs of the requirement. Right? So I think it's a room for a lot of players in the space. But in order to really stay above in all the competition is really to provide the best customer service.
Mm-hmm. And regarding transparency and data, they are increasingly important to customers and investors alike. How are Tigo's monitoring tools influencing purchasing decisions or system performance visibility?
I'm not sure I understand your transparency piece, but I can talk about the benefit of module level monitoring, because once you get system installed, the system usually is a commit, especially with all the PV modules, 25 years lifetime. And our optimizer is also 25 years lifetime warranty. So, and with that system, if something didn't work, you have to the installer has to drive to the job site to see what's going on, which is very costly, in the industry called a truck roll. So with the monitoring system, a lot of issues can be resolved remotely, because you can see each module, what's the performance, how it is, if it's a shading, or if it's we sometimes can find broken diodes and shading issues. So even if sometimes you can resolve remotely, sometimes you have to drive to the job site to resolve it. But you know what are you looking at? You've done the diagnosis, so you can be prepared. Like, what equipment do you need to bring to solve the problem? So it's really ongoing, the maintenance cost reduction for that. Then the second area I was mentioning about the data, and we talk about the energy, maximize the energy saving. Again, once you have all those granularity with the visibility of data, you can have a much better predictability on the production. As a result, so then adding a consumption information, then you can have a much better predictability, how the system is going to behave, like when to, again, we talk about optimization, import and export energy, and that can really provide additional benefit to customers.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, again, costs optimization for customers.
Correct.
And finally, as we look ahead to the rest of 2025, what key trends or opportunities are you keeping your eye on?
I think 2025 is going to be a very interesting year. So especially I'm talking about residential and the CNI, you clearly see in the US market, we have some uncertainties, like how the market going to grow. And the CNI is relatively smaller compared to residential market. The Europe market, clearly I see the recovering from 2024. But what I see is definitely CNI storage. It seems like I see more of growing in that area. Small CNI is not a ground mounted container size. It's more, multi-home, large commercial buildings, and then we see more battery installations in this area. So,
thank you much for your feedback. Is there any question I didn't ask you, and you wish, for example, I would ask?
No, I think it was great. You covered everything. You did a very good homework.
Oh, thank you so much. And also, regarding customers, are you focusing, for example, on the private customers, or it's mostly large enterprises, small, medium businesses?
We doing both. So we serve the majority of a customer, because we are focused primarily on the residential. So it's a lot of installers. But we also work with the large customers who, in turn selling to their installers. So we have both. Yeah.
As far as the residential market is concerned, I understand that also me, like a private customer, can reach out to you and find some solutions, right? So it's not a developer who will envisage the whole development, but also private customers can reach out to you directly.
So now we are because the equipment requires professionals to install. So our primary customers are installers, right? So as a homeowner, if you reach out to us, we can pass on the information to our installers. But primarily what we're serving are the installers, the professional electrician, qualified installers.
Okay, I got it. Thank you very much for explanation.